Have you ever felt anxious, wishing that everything in your life would happen faster? Maybe you wanted success to arrive overnight, or relationships to blossom instantly, or problems to vanish in a single moment. Rushing often seems like the shortest path, but in truth, it is sometimes the quickest way to lose what truly matters. Once upon a time, in a quiet valley surrounded by tall green trees, there lived a young bird. He was small, his feathers still soft and grey, his wings not yet strong enough to carry him far. But his heart was full of dreams. He wanted to be the very first to fly over the high hills, to sing proudly from the tallest tree in the forest, and to show everyone that he was destined for greatness. Every morning before the sun even rose, he repeated the same words to himself. I must get there before the others. I have to prove that I am the best. So while his friends still slept peacefully in their nests, he rushed out to flap his wings. He tried, he stumbled, he fell. The ground became familiar to him because his attempts always ended there. Sometimes he landed softly, but many times he hit the earth hard, scraping his tiny body and leaving his wings sore. Each fall made him even more impatient. Each mistake turned into frustration. He believed the only way to succeed was to push harder, to move faster, to refuse to stop. But the truth was, his wings were not ready yet, and the more he forced them, the weaker he became. One day, high on a nearby branch, sat a wise old owl who had been watching the young bird for many days. Her eyes, golden and calm, followed his restless movements. Finally she called out, "Why such hurry, little one? Why do you rush so desperately?" The young bird stopped for a moment, panting, his chest rising quickly. "Because I want to succeed quickly. I want to be the first," he answered with a trembling voice. The owl tilted her head and replied gently, "Flowers that try to bloom before their time tear their own petals. Fruit that ripens too quickly becomes bitter. Flight too has its season. If you rush, you will only wound your wings." But the little bird refused to listen. He felt the owl's words were only an excuse for weakness. "I cannot waste time," he thought. "If I stop, someone else will be ahead of me. I must fly now, even if it hurts." So he kept trying again and again, always before the right moment. The days went by, and each one brought him more pain than the last. Then came the morning when everything changed. After another fall, sharper and harder than before, his wings were so bruised that he could not even lift himself from the ground. He lay there, feathers ruffled, eyes filled with tears, while above him, his friends, the ones who had practiced slowly, with patience, were now soaring freely across the forest sky. From the ground, he watched them with envy and despair. They moved gracefully, wings wide open, carried by the wind. He felt smaller than ever, weaker than ever. For the first time, his heart whispered, "Maybe I will never fly." It was then that he remembered the owl's words echoing in his mind. Flight has its season. If you rush, you will only wound your wings. For the first time, he listened. He decided to stop forcing what was not ready. He chose to wait, to breathe, to observe, and to give his wings the time they needed to grow stronger. The following days were different. Instead of rushing out before dawn, he allowed himself to rest. He stretched his wings gently each morning, not to prove anything, but to learn how they worked. He began to notice the way the wind moved through the branches, how the older birds angled their wings to catch the air, how patience made them glide farther with less effort. Without realizing it, each day he grew stronger. Each feather hardened, each muscle became more firm. His wings, once too weak to lift him, now carried him higher even with short flights. Weeks later, on a clear and bright morning, he climbed to the top of a branch. The air was fresh, the sun painted the horizon gold, and something inside him whispered, "Now." He spread his wings wide, took a deep breath, and leapt. For the first time, he felt the wind lift him instead of pushing him down. He soared above the trees higher and higher, the forest shrinking beneath him. He could see the hills, the rivers, the endless sky. His heart pounded not from fear, but from joy. He was not the first to arrive. His friends had flown before him. But in that moment he discovered that it did not matter. What truly mattered was that he had found his time. He was flying in his own season, with wings strong and a heart light as air. Life is not a race against others. It is a journey with its own rhythm. Sometimes we think arriving first will make us greater, but rushing only leaves us wounded. Patience builds deep roots, and deep roots sustain the greatest flights. Do not rush to prove anything to anyone. Your time is unique, and when it comes, you will soar higher than you ever dreamed. In life, it's not always the fastest who wins. Patience builds deep roots, and deep roots sustain great flights. Do not rush to prove anything to anyone. Your time is unique, and when it arrives, you will soar higher than you ever dreamed. Have you ever felt like this little bird, in a hurry to arrive before the right moment? Share your thoughts in the comments. And remember, it's not always about being the first. Sometimes the secret is waiting for the right time.